friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop. We have a Rogue F-style mandolin here today, and this is how it comes from the factory. The paper's just on there around the strings. I don't know why they do that exactly. You don't see that on any other instruments that I can remember. I guess that must maybe keep the strings from rusting. I don't know. They have plastic on the pick guard there, and there's some tape or something on the tailpiece cover. We're going to do a quick setup on this, so I'm not going to go into detail about it. I just thought I'd show you what it looks like, the Rogue F-style, and let you hear it when we're done. And you can see it's fairly plain back. Now let me explain to you that I don't know if it's going to be a day or so before I play this, because can you tell which one is different? Can you see the difference? This one is quote-unquote normal. May not look that great, but it's normal. See how swollen this one is? We have these things called red wasps here in mid-Missouri. And I say mid-Missouri because when they sting you, you're in misery. Let me tell you, that thing hurts so bad. I've been stung at least a half a dozen times by red wasps over the last decade or so. One stung me in the back of the neck, just about knocked me down. I mean, it hurt bad. Stung in the leg at least a couple of times, on the arm once or so. I mean, I've been stung a bunch of times. But let me tell you something. When that one stung me twice, he actually stung me twice on the finger right there, on the side of that finger. I ain't never had one hurt like that. Oh my gosh. I stood there and just screamed like a little girl for about 5 minutes. It hurt so bad. Seriously don't think it would have hurt any worse if I'd have cut it off. I don't think it would have. And it is swollen. That happened last night around 6 o'clock in the evening. It is presently just before 8 in the morning. So it's going to be a little while before I can close my hand up to play. It's so tight, it's so swollen that I can barely squeeze it like that. Oh, it hurts. Okay, enough complaining, but don't get stung by the red wasps. They hurt. I wasn't going to film much of this, and I'm sorry about the air conditioner in the background, but it's too hot here to care right now. I was going to take this off and make sure it's got felt in there and stuff. And I'm going to tell you, this is sharp around this edge, so pushing it back, it hurts like crazy. I'm going to dull this all down. It's really sharp. I'm not kidding you. I had to use a stick to push it down. And it's very, very tight. I mean, it's nice that they're tight, but golly, you can have them too tight. But yet, I'm not kidding you. I think this thing would cut you if you pushed on that very hard with your finger. Yeah, that's a lot better. I mean, it just felt like a knife on the edge there before. It's still sharp, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's like sharp, like ready to cut you sharp now. Just thought I'd show you that. That was already loose like that, so that would have been a rattle point anyway. The customer wants this removed. He just doesn't like the idea of the pickguard. I'm with him. I don't care for them on a mandolin myself. I know that some people really do need them though, so it's really just dependent on how you play. Well, if the previous clip turned out, you could see that this actually has X bracing in the top, which is, something similar to a Gilchrist mandolin. I just tuned it up to see what it sounds like on a before, so let's play it a little bit to see what it sounds like before we tear it up and change it around. I can tell you first off, it doesn't hold the pick at the 7th fret at all. As you can see, I can poke it in there, and it's not ridiculously high, but it's nearly twice as high as I set it, so it's that's pretty high. It might even go in up here. Yeah, this pick will actually go in up here, which is a 1.14 millimeter. Here's an 18 thousandths pick right here, and there's all kinds of room. So, you know, the action's very high. So, just from the factory, I wouldn't call it unplayable, but it's uncomfortable. So, but let's play it like it is and see what it's like. It's not got a bad sound, really. The nut up here is very sharp. I can tell you right off. These edges are very sharp, which I don't like. I can feel the frets on the bottom edge down here pretty good. Even a little bit on the top, but mostly on the bottom. As a matter of fact, they're uncomfortable on the bottom. They're pretty sharp. So, but it's not got a real bad sound, really. It's got a fairly decent sound. It's a little hard for me to play, to be honest, because it's just high. Plus, I will tell you that you saw earlier that I had that wasp sting. That the swelling is just barely gone down enough now that I can play. It's still swollen, but I can bend my fingers now where I couldn't bend them the other day. It's actually been. It was Monday evening when I got stung, and it's now Thursday morning, and it's still pretty bad. But the last couple days, I haven't been able to do anything. But no, I really actually like the mandolin. For the money, it's hard to beat the doggone thing. It's just set up poorly, that's all. But we can change all that here in just a few minutes. I will just tell you, I just noticed something that I hadn't noticed before. The shape of this right here, it's not continuously round. It's kind of round and then flatted off. It's unusual. I haven't seen that before. That doesn't make it play bad. It's just a weird look, I guess. But otherwise, it's pretty good. The tuning keys are very cheap, I guess. But on the other hand, they seem to work pretty well. When you say something, you end up regretting it. Now I have to tell you, loosening the tuning keys, they're jerky, they're grabby. We'll oil them up a little bit, but yeah, they're real jerky and grabby on the loosening. That's odd to me. I didn't expect that, but I just thought I'd let you know that so you get an honest evaluation here. Yeah, it's just jerky. Like you can see, it almost moves in jerks. It's like it jumps. Not very good. I don't like that part at all. The tightening didn't seem to be too bad. Off camera, I just poured the oil to them. You can see the oil coming off on my rag here. Put quite a bit of oil on them. That did seem to help them. They turn a lot smoother now. We took the old strings off there, the strings that came with it, and they're not much anyway. They were light and kind of flimsy. I'm gonna round off these corners on the bottom here to get rid of the sharpness. It already feels better. I just call those the decoration frets. They're all the short frets I generally take out. I leave all the long ones. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think I'm just going to very lightly dress the frets, very lightly, just to see if there's any high spots. Before I even do that, let me look down it. Yeah, this one little fret end looks like it's up a little bit. That may just be the end of the fret though. Let's see if we can knock that down in there a little bit better. I'll just hold it in my hand there to... It's not going down, although I can press it down, so we'll have to glue that one in place. I believe that took care of that. That's the only one I see sticking up, so we'll go ahead and level the rest of that a little bit. The rest of them look pretty good. The overall thing, there's a little bit of rocky rolly going on, but not too bad. I can feel something right in here already. Right in here. Wasn't too bad, just a little bit right there on this one fret. Actually, there's two frets. And we're going to stop right there. I don't think it needed very much. I just noticed something here. I did not level this fretboard. All I did was recrown the frets lightly and then oiled it. But as I'm oiling it, I'm noticing this one triangular looking shape going across the fret right here. I don't know if you can see that. I think you can. And I don't know what that is, but I'm going to see if it'll scrape out. I think it was something in manufacturing. Little spot of glue or something right there on the fretboard that didn't come off. It's off there now. Okay, that's much better. I'm going to give it one more quick oil job. As I was fitting up a antler saddle, then I just thought I'd show you one more quality control issue. You can see how it's at a slant to this, and the reason for that is this doesn't go all the way down. I don't put the holes all the way through mine, but you can see this post is much taller than that post. Now maybe we'll get lucky and be able to screw it down. It is screwing, let's see, but once it gets tight, well, you got to be careful because you'll split your bridge. Let me turn it that many times and see if that makes a difference. It's pretty close, not perfectly all the way down yet. Right there. So you can see that's pretty level now. It's still not going all the way down. The bridge is sitting at a very slight angle leaning forward, which is not ever good. If I turn it around the other way, will it match the top better? It doesn't match the top real good that way for sure. Let's see if it matches it this way. This was the original way. It doesn't really match very well the original way either. So I'm turning the bridge around compared to the way it came here. This side used to be on the treble side. And the reason I'm doing that is because those posts are set in at a slight angle backwards. And I would rather have them leaning back than forwards because everything always pulls forwards. So if you have that issue, you should set it toward the back. It's not significant enough to have to redo anything, but it's definitely there, and it is definitely a factor in setup. I have a piece of this 220 sandpaper, and I'm going to, hold the bridge up fairly straight as I'm sanding it here. But you can see right off it's just touching on that tip and a little bit on this heel here. Well, actually it's on that tip too. But anyway, it's just barely making contact. And when we're done here, it should make good contact all the way across.
As I put the first string on this, I can tell that I'm going to have to file those posts off. This saddle is still sitting on those posts and it's rocking. So those posts are going to have to be filed off because I want to get the action down lower. I think I can get it low enough, but not with these posts standing up like they are. Or I'd have to drill the holes all the way through. And I would prefer to take the posts down and leave the holes out of the equation. That's as close as we can get it right now. We're going to see what it looks like with the strings on there. I think we're going to be close enough. I'm pretty sure we'll be good now. My own personal preference is not to have the saddle setting all the way down. I would prefer that these adjusters are up just a tiny amount where you can see light under the adjuster from the bass. The reason is, my theory is it transfers the sound better that way too, versus having that solid piece of metal sitting right on the foot. It doesn't seem to transfer as good to me, to my ear. So, and if I'm checking here now, I'm actually raising the string at the 7th fret just barely, so that'll give me just a little bit of height adjustment, because when you tighten this down, this is all going to go down a little bit anyway. So it looks like we're going to be real close to just about perfect there. I'm going to file this nut. Now, a lot of people say just replace the nut, it's plastic, it's a piece of junk. Well, I agree, it's plastic and all that. But the problem you get into when you replace the nut is you get into a lot of time. It takes more time to make this nut than just about any of the rest of the setup. So, you're going to spend an extra $60 minimum, because it's $1 a minute. It's going to take me at least an hour to make a brand new nut and get it set just right. You'll save a lot of time and effort by keeping the nut you have, and 90% of your sound happens down here. It doesn't happen up here. There's very little going on up here. 1 or 2% is it at the very top end. And I'm being generous when I say that. Me personally, I don't think this affects the sound hardly at all. Now, I know a lot of people would argue with that, but that's my experience, and I'm sticking to it. Because 90% of the time you're noting a string anyway, so the nut is completely out of the picture on a noted string. The nut only has any impact on the sound when you're playing an open string. At that point, the sound still happens down here anyway. I know every one of them needs filing, so I'm just giving them a little bit of filing before I put the strings on. Well, I must have done a setup or two before, because now look at this. I just filed it with the strings off and put the strings on, and every one of them is just right at the level, except this one. The second G string is just a hair high still, but it's only a hair high. It's perfectly playable as it is, but I'm going to go ahead and knock it down just a little bit. Doesn't take much on these plastic nuts to knock them down either, let me tell you. And you can see here at the 7th fret now, it does hold, well, alright, it holds the pick, but just barely. I mean, like, just barely. So, it was twice as high, so it's just about right. It's all the way down. Rather than spend any more money on it, it's perfectly playable that way. It's within my tolerance anyway. I will tell you this, all of these body points are sharp, don't get me wrong, but this one's exceptionally sharp, so I'm going to dull it just a little bit on the corners and just a little bit with the file here, just to round it off, because I'm seriously telling you, it's like almost razor sharp. I would still say that tuning keys might be the weakest part. And they're not terrible. I've definitely played a lot of them with worse tuners than these, but these are not great tuners. Okay, let's see what she does. Plays so much easier. Sounds pretty good, and definitely glad I scalloped that down, because with this action this low, it really would be in your way. No buzzing. Everything feels less sharp I can be honest and tell you I still feel a little bit of sharpness there, but down through here where your hand is, it's no problem. Really very good. Very good. Very good. I don't see how you could get one much better for that kind of money. Well, hope you enjoyed a quick look at the Rogue F-style mandolin. It has the X bracing, which I didn't know that. Until I looked in this one, I didn't have any idea they had X bracing. Thanks for watching.